Hi guys, how we doing today? So today we're gonna be talking about the Prodigy. I don't think anybody actually watched my Halloween 2018 review, but I'm not gonna give up because I actually really do like talking about movies. And honestly, I'm a huge movie buff, and I will sit and talk to anybody about any movie as long as I've seen it, for like a long time. So I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying. So, we're going to talk about The Prodigy today. This is a movie that really wasn't marketed at all. Kind of like The Nun was super marketed and like Halloween was too. But honestly, like this one, it wasn't even like YouTube ads. Like, I don't think I saw it on TV one time. The only reason I knew it existed was because I saw the teaser trailer, when I was going to see another movie. And the trailer kind of grabbed my interest because you got the young boy running down the hallway to his mom, and then he turns into a grown man right there and grabs her. So it was kind of creepy. So I was actually kind of excited for it. I love those kind of movies where like kids are evil and they're killing people, and like I love like The Omen, Orphan, all those kinds of movies. I love those movies. So, I was very excited for The Prodigy, when I heard that it was going to come out. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. There will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the movie, or if you don't want to be spoiled, then click out now. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get into the movie. We're going to talk about the characters first. There aren't a whole lot of them, so it won't take very long to get through this. So you have the little boy, Miles, there we go. We have Miles. He is just your typical little boy who is kind of possessed by a serial killer. Yeah, that's the plot of this movie. This kid is possessed by a serial killer. So, yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. And this kid is creepy. Like, honestly, I didn't like the kid as well as I did in Orphan, or even the remake of The Omen. And I don't even like the remake of The Omen. But I felt like the kid in here, he wasn't a very good actor. I mean, I know he's a kid. He has time to kind of spread his wings and grow. But, like, as a child actor, he's not that great. But he looks creepy. I'll give him that. He's a creepy looking little kid. But honestly, Miles doesn't stand out to me in this movie. Kind of like the way that Esther did, or Damien did, or even Regan from The Exorcist. All those kids kind of stood out. Miles doesn't really stand out, which I guess maybe is in his favor in this movie. Maybe he's not meant to stand out, which would make sense. But he's not really a standout character for me. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Mom. She's played by Taylor Schilling, who was in Orange is the New Black. Honestly, I didn't care for her in Orange is the New Black. I thought she was kind of whiny. But I like her in this movie. She was a very caring mom. She seemed to actually want to help her son. Like, she was even willing to say, screw my marriage, I want to help my son. And it even gets to the point where she finds out he's possessed by the serial killer, and she finds out what he wants, and she's even willing to go kill some lady that she doesn't even know to save her son. So that, to me, this character, she grew a lot. Like, she went from this kind of almost meek housewife who was an ex-party girl, to this mom who was literally fighting for her child's life. So, yeah. Now, we're going to talk about Dad for a minute. Honestly, he really wasn't in the movie enough. I thought the actor who played him was really cute, though. Yeah, he was cute. But, honestly, he was the typical, well, he's mentally ill. when this whole supernatural aspect gets introduced, he's like, no. He's like, this is not our son. He's like, our son needs help because he's crazy, not because he's possessed. And I thought that the way that he went about trying to institutionalize Miles was kind of wrong. You don't tell a serial killer or somebody that literally just brutally murdered your dog and cut its feet off that you're taking them to an institution until you fucking get there. Like, literally, until you walk through those doors, you don't tell him shit. Because that's literally, his character is in a coma at the end of this movie because he's a dumbass. Like, you don't tell the killer that you're taking him to jail. You don't. Because then you get killed. You're an idiot. So we're going to go ahead. The last character we're going to talk about is the psychiatrist. This psychiatrist was actually really interesting to me. He's honestly the most interesting character in this movie. So he studies reincarnation, and which is super cool. And like, he talks about a previous case that he had with like this little Indian boy that he took, and like this little kid knew everything about this family, and like he held his like past mother's hand while she died, and like the only reason that the spirit was staying was because his mother was still alive and he wanted to wait until his mother died to pass on. It was such an interesting story to me. And when the psychiatrist, he's only in a couple scenes. I think that his character was totally needed for this movie to give context. In a way I don't really think anybody else could have. The insight that he gave was really important in this movie. He was the exposition machine, but I think it was totally necessary for him to be in this movie. But the scene where he's interviewing Miles, oh my god, it's literally like one of those, I literally gagged. When he was like trying to talk to him, and he was like, look, I'm going to tell her, and you need to leave his body. And like, he literally was like, oh, well, it's kind of hard to be, you know, sympathetic towards you if you molested me and they find the drugs that were in your medicine cabinet in my system. It's like, bro. And then, like, he let her go home with him. He let the mom take Miles home. And it's just like, oh my god, why would you do that? But, like, I get that he didn't want to say anything in front of Miles. Again, kind of like the stupid dad who did. The doctor wasn't that stupid. He called her later on that night and was like, hey, this is what's going on. You need to look up this serial killer. Like, he literally, in my opinion, he saves the movie. I guess you do have one more character, though. You have his old victim who got away. She's actually the reason that he died, because she got away, turned him in, and then he was shot and killed. So you get her. She was in a movie that I saw recently that I can't remember the name of. It was like she was married to another woman, and then like they went away to a cabin in the woods. I actually want to review that movie. The name of it completely escapes me, but it's a good movie, and I'll do a review on it. Because I don't think a lot of people have seen that one either. Anyway, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. So she was his last victim. She lives in Ohio. And she has a small family that she kind of kept away from the cameras. So when Taylor Schilling's character comes in and she's like, look, I'm going to kill her because this is what the killer wants. The killer wants her dead. And then as soon as she's dead, he'll leave my son alone. So she's like, okay. Okay, so she drives up to Ohio with Miles in the back seat. And then she goes into this woman's house on the prefix of she's a big fan of her book and she wants to talk about things. And this lady is so nice. She's so nice. She totally doesn't deserve to die. Like, not at all. And Taylor Schilling literally can't kill her. Literally not at all. It's like, that would be such a hard decision, though. Like, you have to think about it. Like, if your son was, like, possessed, and the only way you could get your son back and get the serial killer to go away is if you kill his last victim. Would you be able to do that? Would you be able to save your child like that? By killing somebody else that you don't even know? Who's been through horrific shit already in their life? I don't know if I could do it. Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, so those are the characters. Anyway, honestly, the only character I said that really stands out to me is the psychologist. I like him. I like his character. The rest of them, yeah, a little bit. There's a salt truck right in front of me. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and talk a plot a little bit. I want to kind of talk about the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like. So we're going to jump in and just say that the plot to this is actually really solid. I love the plot of the opening scene is really eerie where the girl's running away and like then you see the serial killer. He's like doing something on like his work desk. He looks like he's building like some sort of mechanical object. And then the girl who gets away, she runs right in front of a car. And she almost gets run over. But the lady who was driving the car gets out and comes around and you see that her arm, like her hand, has been completely cut off. It's his calling card. So you get, then you get the cops. They come and shoot the serial killer down. They come and they shoot him. And when he's dead, he drops a hand. And it's the girl's hand that got away. And at the same time that this is happening, you get Taylor Schilling and then her husband in this movie are giving birth to their son Miles. And there's kind of the you kind of can infer that that's gonna happen. Maybe not everybody got it. I did. Like I was like, okay, this is a possession movie. Okay. I really wasn't expecting a possession movie. I was kind of expecting something like Orphan. But that's what we got. So then you get Miles is kind of growing up and things kind of happen around him. He's like super smart. And then you get the scene where you kind of see how messed up he really is. He's being babysat. And the babysitter and him are playing hide and seek. And she goes down into the basement to look for him, steps on a piece of glass, and she gets the bottom of her feet wrecked. This kid is fucked up. And literally, in like a scene and a half from that scene, he beats this kid with like a wrench from the janitor's office because he wouldn't let him, because like his classmate wouldn't let him work with the girl he wanted to work with. So he beat him. Like, seriously, it's really bad. And then you get the setup to the psychologists, where the psychologist talked to him and then she's like, oh, this is so out of my league. So she calls the other psychologist in. This movie is truly fucked up, honestly. And the worst part is that, yeah, it's kind of gruesome in a lot of aspects, but in some aspects, it's completely forgettable. Like, you get the scene where the dog dies and, like, gets his feet cut off. Horrific. Like, literally, I had to look away from the screen. And, like, the kills in this movie they're interesting. Like, they can be. Like, the dad, when he's driving Miles to the hospital, he literally tells him outright, look, I'm gonna institutionalize you, you're not gonna see me or your mom for a while. And he literally just stabs him right through the side, and like he veers off the road and like crashes and gets put into a coma. Like, honestly, a lot of the kills they're a little bit different, but at the same time, like, there's a good variety. But honestly, not a lot of people die in this movie except for the dog, which is sad. And then, of course, there's the end where a couple people die. Yeah, honestly, this movie is kind of forgettable. There's creepy moments, like, where we get into the basement with Miles and he's sharpening, like, the hedge cutters. and he's, like, sharpening them. It's really eerie and creepy. Like, then you get, like, the scenes where he's, like, sleeping and he's speaking, like, Hungarian. It's kind of like, okay. But it's a clue as to who he was in a previous life. But, I mean, there's moments that are eerie, but honestly, nothing's really that scary about this movie. Honestly, I kind of forgot half the movie by the time I had walked out of the theater. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the end of this movie. So like I said, kind of when I was doing the characters, the end of this movie takes place in Ohio. So she and her son drive to see his last victim. The mom is completely planning to blow her head off. She goes and buys a gun, and she comes in and meets her, and she sees, like, the hook that she has for her hand, because her hand was cut off in the beginning of this movie. So she excuses herself after talking to her for even a minute. She's like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, and she throws up immediately, and you know she's not going to do it. She's not going to be able to do it. Because this lady is so nice, and she has a family of her own, she has children of her own, and she just can't do it. So, but, I mean, she pretends like she's going to. She comes out of the bathroom with the gun, and she points it at her, and she's like, what are you doing? And, like, Taylor Schiller's character is like, I'm really sorry. But then Miles comes in and kills her. And then he runs out. Mom runs after. Do you think he's saved? No. You get the big reveal that Miles has been gone for half of the movie, and that the serial killer has completely taken over the body of this little boy. And then Taylor Schiller raises her gun up. She's literally going to shoot herself, and she's literally going to shoot her son in the head, because she's like, look, you're not my son. My son would never do these things. She's like, you have his body, but you don't have his soul, and you can't have his body if you're not my son. So she literally raises up her gun to shoot him, and then she gets shot by a hunter. And I admit, I did not see that coming. I really figured she would shoot him, she would cry, and be the end of the movie. No, it's not. And the hunter comes in from literally Hunter Ex Machina, shoots the mom. She falls, she dies. He saves Miles from her. Miles. And then he goes to a foster home until his dad wakes up from his coma. Now, we all know that the dad is not going to want this kid back after what happened. This kid is literally going to be in foster care forever. I mean, I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't. I don't know about that. I love my daughter a lot. I don't know. She did try to kill me. But it would just be, so the mom comes in, she like introduces herself, the foster mom, and he's looking at her hand like, yeah, I'm probably gonna kill you, and I'm gonna cut your hand off. And it's literally the end of the movie. So we kind of get a cliffhanger almost, and I'm really hoping that they don't make a second one of these. Honestly, this movie is forgettable. Like, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm not saying that it's a waste of my hour and a half, because it wasn't a waste of my hour and a half. It was just a forgettable horror movie. Like, that's all it was. It was just forgettable. Like, honestly, I will probably not watch it again. Honestly, it won't be one of those movies that I seek out. It'll just be like, if there's nothing else on and it's on HBO, I'll be like, okay. But I would never seek it out. Like, this movie is a solid C+ for me. It's like a middle-of-the-road horror movie. You do get a couple creepy vibes. You get a couple jump scares. You do get some decent gore-esque. But the gore is pretty good in this movie. So if you like gore, you might like it. But other than that, this movie's forgettable. Like, and that was sad, because like I said, I was really looking forward to it. But it was not that good. Like I said, solid C+ for me, rating-wise. So, honestly, I wouldn't go see it in theaters, but if you have HBO or Stars, and it comes on there, it's worth the hour-and-a-half watch, because you will get a small enjoyment factor out of it, especially if you like eerie, creepy horror movies. You might kind of enjoy it, I guess. But like I said, I wouldn't spend money to go see it, but I would wait until it comes to HBO. Alrighty, guys. Well, you guys have a good rest of your day, and hopefully I'll get some views on this video, and we will kind of keep going. I do want to do a review on Fantastical Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I actually literally started to record it, but my phone died right in the middle of it. So I lost it all. But yeah, so I am planning to review that. It is totally in the works. I just never got around to it. So have a good rest of your day, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.